What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is not JC. He's taking a long vacation after, Spain beat Argentina. So I had to call in the reserve, and there's only one man that can reserve in the right here, and that is the one and only the ZOAT, the Zach of all trades. Zach, thank you for joining us tonight.
Man, it's always great to be on some jobber knockery with my man Nestle. No matter where I am, whether it's at home, on location, that's what the ZOAT's all about because it's wrestling at its purest. And, we're in the heat of things. It's hot times. It's summer times on the way to SummerSlam. And I feel just like it's the first time that I'm actually like directly post like a big show because Saturday night's main event just happened. Usually I'm like 2 weeks before a pay-per-view whenever I have to like substitute on these things, or John Cena wins the Intercontinental Championship. But now here's something like the thick of it now. And it's like, oh, look it. We're like 2 weeks from SummerSlam. Things are somewhat happening, even though they feel like they're not. So there's stuff to talk about at least.
Yeah, that's true. And you did said, there's a lot to talk about, so we should probably get right into it. I'm going to start where we always start. We usually say in the shine, but because we had Saturday night's main event, I feel like we should probably talk about this. So we're going to start off the rip here. We had Trick Williams versus Lariato Kid in a singles match, 7 minutes. It was a pre-game show match, so not much to talk about here. I feel like as much as I love Trick Williams, I feel like he's trying very hard, and I'm going to piggyback off of Friday here because he was sitting there, and I love catchphrases. I think they're funny. I feel like Trick Williams is trying to be a little bit too much like The Rock sometimes. He said, I'm going to pull out my handy dandy notebook, which is a Blue's Clues reference. So I obviously pop for that shit. But I am curious what you feel like as a fan when you watch and think about Trick Williams. Like what comes across to you?
It's one of these things where like I enjoy what they're trying to go for in the sense of he's just his own identity. Like, because it was weird when he got called up because they tried to make him an over gimmick while still having him be bad. And now he just runs around with Little Yachty, which like for some reason, everybody just loves this rapper as opposed to any other rapper they've put on TV. Like he has come out of the gingerbread thing better than anybody should have ever been able to. I can agree with you in the sense of where it's like, okay, don't force stuff. Like it's how I feel. And I mean, I know you guys don't really talk about it on this, but I feel like a perfect example right now is Andrade with this whole how you know thing. Like there are just times where he says it just because it's what people are gripping to. And so it's like, I need to work it in now. If I don't, then now they're not going to care. So I feel like he's just trying to like, whatever he can have the next lemon pepper stepper when like that was its thing. You're naturally charismatic on your own, and he is, and then he can do it in the ring because like right now the US title reign outside of him having a fluffy belt, which is its own choice, like could have at least maybe changed the color of the fluff so it doesn't look like the women's championship, but like more made for a woman than the woman's one. But again, these are all just little things in the sense of like at the end of the day, he does produce compelling TV. He is putting on good matches where I was going to make the point of reminiscent to like what he was doing in NXT, where they kind of just put him against somebody where it's like, okay, like this is just a guy. Or it's just like the most random out of left field name because of some whatever they're doing, like when he was doing the TNA stuff. But then you bring in a Laredo Kid who is just a natural highlight reel maker and you put him in there. Now it's somebody who has that 50-50 mentality where like, yeah, he's over, but Laredo can still in 7 minutes fight from underneath and still kind of be captivating while Trick has to find his opening in between to get that one killer strike. So there's a lot to like about the overall package of Trick Williams, in my opinion. It's just like I said, like there are the little things that kind of like make him feel tacky. Like there's an authenticity to him that I hope they don't lose because they're trying to keep making him as marketable as possible.
That's a great, the last part of that was like kind of the thesis of what I thought you were trying to get to. So I appreciate that because I'm really thinking about it when I watch. I'm thinking, we labeled the name of the show a certain thing, so we'll probably talk about cringeworthy things next in a little bit. But I do worry in this new era that they are really grasping to anything that has any semblance of just notoriety or just And literally, it's like all you need is a catchphrase. All you need is some type of connection, and it's like we'll base it off of that. And I'm not saying the wrestling's bad, but it's weird to me when I'm watching lately. It just feels like I love character development and I love characters more than wrestling itself. So it's weird for me to say, but I do feel like when I watch Trick Williams, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm watching a skit and I'm not really paying attention to his wrestling. And so for me, I just kind of like, I hate that, but that's just me. Anyway, we'll move on. Fatal Influence, big upset victory. This is also weird. They exactly 17 minutes and 15 seconds beat Paige and Brie Bella. This was kind of a no-brainer to me. We talked about this last week on the program that Paige and Brie weren't really a team to begin with, so it was just kind of like, here we are, and they weren't really doing. I mean, they did defend it, but it did feel weird, and now I feel like we'll probably not see them for a while. I don't know, like I feel like it is what it is, but you know.
I mean, I notoriously, the last time I was on this podcast, was touting how strong they really felt like they were presenting Fatal Influence off the rip. Since I've been on the podcast, I feel like things got a little shaky in the JC department, with certain things. But like it all comes back together, right? And it's like you said, like I've been a nefarious disliking of the women's tag titles since WrestleMania because it feels like it's just sucked life out of Paige. Like, I feel like I've barely even cared that Paige, like this person that has been waiting to come back to like we've been clamoring for the comeback. And it feels like she's kind of just here and doesn't feel like she's anything that matters. I'm hoping now that she can splinter off from Brie, because I feel like they could have lost these titles like 3 defenses ago, and I would have been fine with it. I'm much happier that it's on a team like a Fatal Influence so they can just keep their ball rolling on SmackDown, because at a time where SmackDown kind of needs that, seeing how Raw kind of like shafted the women this week, like if SmackDown can keep that presence going for them, it's going to help them, especially with the women's title situation with Rhea Ripley, So like, shouts out Fallon, shouts out Lainey Reed, however you all got to get it done. You do it and you get the dang gold, and it's great. So now we can actually have pieces where they should be and everything can move.
It is weird to me because you said the JC Jane thing, but it is weird because they presented JC right off the rip against like the biggest names on SmackDown. And now it feels like she's kind of been put down a notch where she's not as like, I don't know. I felt like they really out of the gate tried to make Fatal Influence feel like a legitimate threat in a way that felt like very impactful. And I know this is good. This is a good step forward in terms of getting them the tag titles and making them feel like they're owning the show. But I do feel like the most important piece of this is JC Jane. And we can talk about it later or we can talk about it now, but there's qualifying matches, as you kind of alluded to, about the women's interim women's championship here. And I was like, JC Jane should have won her match, in my opinion. When I saw her lose, and I was like, Tiffany wins. In my head, I thought to myself, this doesn't make any sense in terms of like, I get why Tiffany's in there. She's going to be the fucking kaboom of the week. Like she's going to dive off the fucking ladder. Girls will catch her, whatever. But I just felt like it did a disservice to JC because I felt like unless there's a last chance where all the people who didn't win the first round get another chance and then JC gets in there, I just felt like why can't we take a flyer on somebody if Rhea Ripley is coming back soon, just not at SummerSlam? Like, I feel like the inevitability of like, okay, it's going to go back to her anyway. So like take a flyer on somebody to win this thing that isn't normally there. And JC James feels like at least if she got it, she can be like, I had it. And then she lost it to Rhea and then she has to chase and whatever. I think that would work. But when I saw Tiffy win, I was like, oh man, I'm glad the girls won the tag titles. They deserve it. They're a great team. I like it. I like the presentation. But there's something about JC Jane that just feels like they've pulled the reins back off of her.
Right. And that's sitting right next to Jade Cargill also qualifying for it. So now you just took what was being this weird offshoot US title feud and jamming it into the ladder match instead of letting new things integrate and interweave within each other. Like we're just going to have the same characters now vying for the one that's up there until Rhea gets back. Like the Rhea getting hurt thing, I feel like just kind of like dampened a lot of things, which seems to be the course when it comes to the women's division, unfortunately. But like, it's just weird that the powers that be, like, can't be, okay, this piece isn't here. Like when Liv got hurt or whatever, or whoever was injured in the time where like it was holding everything off for the women's title on Raw, like there are still other people here that you can do stuff with until they get back. You have pieces. In the vein of you were saying that Tiffany's going to be like the pop shot spot. You have women on the roster that can do it. Like you don't need it to always be the PME. It can be a different big crash and boom to, again, like we alluded to, give somebody else like a JC Jane that chance and just have the awe shot. Because like, what do you have to lose with the fact that you're making it an interim, which is like rare in the case of WWE, that they don't just go, well, you can't be the champion anymore, you know? But in our show, so we're just gonna have to see who comes out of that at SummerSlam. But at the end of the day, we got tag titles, so yeah.
There you go. All right. Moving on to some fun talk. We got Danhausen defeating JD McDonough in a no disqualification match, 11 minutes, 35 seconds. This was a whole lot of gaga. I love a lot of gaga. I like a little, we call it a palate cleanse on here on the program. But I love Danhausen. I loved everything about it. I didn't even think to myself on Friday when he had a black cat that it was going to be Carl Anthony Towns coming out of the fucking box, which I was like, that's fucking dope. I mean, he's a big motherfucker. Comes out, choke slams both of these guys. They made him look like $1 million. And of course he wins, which is great. Obviously they're in Madison Square Garden. And of course there's the, Danhausen connection to the Knicks winning the NBA championship. So there's a lot going on there. So that's helpful. I thought that was really fun and entertaining. And the synergy between the Knicks, I mean, like, who would have thought in a million fucking bajillion years that the Knicks would have won the NBA championship? That alone is difficult. They haven't done it in 40 something years. But on top of that, the Danhausen would then reverse a curse. They go 13 for 14 and win the NBA championship. Like, that's ridiculous. So now you have this good luck charm that's always going to be synonymous with this championship that this town has always, this city has always wanted. So Danhausen's like this unofficial mascot for the Knicks in a way. And then he's in Madison Square Garden having that moment with Towns. And I just thought it was such a great moment. Obviously, there's something that happened later in, with Roman Reigns, but man, when I thought that, I was like, that was a nice piece of business, because I felt like they have that relationship with ESPN. They have their relationship with Netflix. They've got all these little pieces here and there. And to be able to pluck like the two most important, maybe the three most important people from the Knicks and have them kind of shove in there to do something is really a shot in the arm, because I feel like the WWE was at its apex lately. And then it kind of feels like we're on the deep downcline here. I don't even know if that's a word, but decline probably is better. And I just thought to myself, man, like, this was a good piece of business for me. Like, I love Danhausen, so I just thought, like, hey, like, this is totally worth it in everybody's opinion.
Yeah, I remember one of the times I was on this show, and like the slightest bit of sports got brought up, and you made it like it was, catching COVID, talking about real sports, those fake ball players. This is our professional wrestling, but you couldn't put it better in the sense of. And the way I look at it, right, like Danhausen is now that equivalent of the cultural phenomenon that you would see back in the rock and wrestling, back in the Attitude Era, where, and I love the word, like, you transcend wrestling. Like, it was one thing when he was doing the curse, because he's been doing that for years, and like it always kind of picks up and then drops off and picks up and drops off. But this is like people that even like regardless of your familiarity with wrestling, like the curse thing is a bit, but like to have it where like it is the NBA finals, like the creme de la creme of something of that stature, like it'd be as if like they freaking started predicting Super Bowls out here. But like he, like you said, is now synonymous with this team winning this championship, and now like this is now where the ESPN thing has made the most sense since it started. Like, even outside of Brock and whatever else you want to say, like, this now makes ESPN integration kind of cool, because it's now bleeding the realities in a way that is impactful, that is mainstream, that is making it seem like it's bigger than it is when it's already such a big thing. I am worried, and I feel like it's going to come up more when we talk about Raw, Because there was another point when it comes to past conversations between us, when it comes to, are they relying on him too much? And I'm hoping that it's not starting to get to that point.
I thought that a couple months ago that they were going to rely on him too much, but it seems like I'm wrong because as Josh would say, or who the fuck is Josh? JC would say, Nestle's on an island. We call it Nestle Island because I'm usually wrong. But I mean, they find the peaks and valleys. They they let him simmer. They don't turn up the heat too much on Danhausen. They did seem like they relied on him quite a bit off the rip, but now they're finding their spots with him. So I thought that was a nice little piece there. But moving on, I was going to say Valkyria. No, but Lyra Valkyria beats Bailey in a technical submission, which was a bulldog choke, 10 minutes, 30 seconds. This one was very telling to me. I loved watching kind of Lyra walk out like a zombie and just kind of like, she's fucked up. She's like Nikki Cross, like from like 6 years ago. And, although I thought Nikki Cross was incredibly talented, one of my favorite people. So I'm always bummed when I see that she's somewhere else. But, man, the question I was going to pose to you, and I kind of told you before we hit record here, but the way that they went about this, and you hear a lot of speculation, and we don't talk about this usually on the program. We don't do dirties. We don't do the nerd stuff. But people are pointing the direction that there is a possibility that Bailey is on her way out. She put Lyra over very definitively. And so how do you, maybe she stays, maybe she doesn't. Either way, Bailey's done yeoman's work for how many years in this company? The one thing I will say, if she does go to AEW, I think Sasha or, Mercedes, or however you want to say it, clearly will have a hand in making her feel like a bigger star over there. And that would be good for Pam because, I mean, I've always been a fan of hers. So I really think she's been underutilized. But the one thing I will say is it is weird to me, right? There was that line a couple weeks ago that Lyra said, "You're the worst of the 4 horsewomen," which, I mean, that's not really fair in an assessment because I feel like you couldn't deny Charlotte Flair. She was going to get what she wanted. Mercedes was so good in the ring that you can't deny that. Becky caught fire organically. Again, you can't deny that. And I just felt like Bailey never got the positioning or the opportunity, it felt like, to really be the focal point of a division. She was very good. She's a good ring general, and she's very talented, but she's almost too selfless, not selfish enough.
She suffered the same fate as Drew McIntyre, where her prime was at a time where there were no people. She did her best work in the Thunderdome, and it's the most unfortunate thing, because she's always reliable to put a championship on, but like nothing has felt substantial. And like you, I've always just been a Bailey fan. Like I've always enjoyed her. She's always found a way to like keep herself just somewhat interesting in a time where, because again, like she has a level of care to the point where, again, like now she's doing all these lodestone seminars for women on the independents, which like, and that's where my thought process goes when it comes to where she's going to go, right? Because like, is there going to be, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more accessibility for her to be able to do that in a world that is constantly bringing in independent talent on a weekly basis, as we just saw demonstrated throughout the week in Boston, So like maybe that's where her head is going, where like she's doing such good work in this aspect where like, but I feel like her even being in link with the Performance Center would be a valuable asset if she wasn't to go. And like if she doesn't leave, I don't think that kills anything for Lyra either, because I want to stress immensely, like I've heard a lot of criticism about the new Lyra Valkyria, and I don't buy it. I absolutely love it. I love when something feels real and feels justified. So it's like you said with the Nikki Cross thing, but now there's motivation behind it. There's a reason for me to, even though you're the heel, like I genuinely do feel bad that you broke to this point and you had to murder Bailey to the point where I'll have to fire her in universe mode. Thanks, world. But at the end of the day, like Bailey's just been a trooper. Bailey's been somebody that like, and you can relate it to another release like a Karrion Kross. This has always been the good soldier, except she's had the marketing of the fact that she's a horsewoman. She's had that to be able to constantly stay relevant, stay in the limelight enough where people are like, why isn't Bailey getting more? And I mean, if Mercedes can then get her the more that she desires, all the power to her at that point, because she is a tremendous talent who deserves to just be constantly put in a position where it's, guess what? I can go. I can go with your best. I can be presented as that, and I can make them look good. Because that's even my thing now, where she's at a point where she doesn't need to be a champion. She just needs to be in there with the people that matter the most. Like the fact that they haven't done her versus Rhea in like a modern day match, it's a brain conundrum to me. Um, there's just so much upside to a Bayley that no matter where she goes, it's gonna be beneficial to the wrestling landscape at large. It just depends on which side of the coin it's gonna play.
It's a good point. Yeah, and I didn't even think about the Rhea thing. Our boy John makes a good point here, saying even though she was the women's champion in both 2020 and let's be honest, when she became champion at WrestleMania 40. You're right, John. I think that's a really good point. I mean, they've just never, when she came up and she had the whole hugger gimmick, it was, gangbusters. This is our female John Cena. They that's what it felt like right out of the rip. And then it's just like over time, even, I mean, like when she turned heel, that was like a really cool thing. But it's weird to me because Bayley, like I said, has the ability to do all these things, but just I don't know what it is. It's just like maybe it's just not the shiniest toy in the toy box, but maybe Tony will treat her better. And I think this is a real opportunity for Tony Khan, because if he does it correctly, I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, that's our girl. That's our, that's the person we get behind. And we know that Bayley and Sasha have arguably the best women's match ever when it comes to Takeover Brooklyn. So I mean, they could recapture that magic. You never know what could happen for anybody in that situation. So I look forward to seeing what happens. I kind of want to see her go to AEW because again, if she's not going to get that opportunity, it's the same thing like at anybody's job, right? Like you can sit at your job and you can be good at your job and you can be told what your worth is, or you can go out and prove what you're worth. And I think she's the type of person, I don't know her personally, but I think if I was her, I would go out and prove my worth to myself, let alone let someone tell me what I'm worth. So that's what I hope for her.
Until she swerves the world and takes a pay cut to go to TNA and pulls the Naomi.
Well, that's not going
to happen. Then comes back and wins another world title.
Anyway, talking about a world title, we're going to move on to what was supposedly the main event. I say supposedly because we have something after. Cody and Punk defeat Gunther and Sammy, as there was, if the heels had won, they would have been added to the main event of SummerSlam. That didn't happen. Of course, there's
only one heel. There's only one heel in this
equation. Sorry. Anyway, the bad guy and the real last good guy, if they'd won, they'd been interjected into that main event. That didn't happen because all this, got involved here, which I thought was interesting. Our boy Todd texted me after he saw it, and it is interesting. I'm curious your thoughts, because him and I do not agree on a lot of things. So him and I have different opinions on pretty much, well, we have similar opinions, but there are some times where we get just, in a heated argument sometimes. That's what best friends
do. It happens. It's Todd.
Yeah. And he was like, I don't get it. Like all this is like, I was going to give you the good news, but then you choked me out only to come on Saturday to take the opportunity away from you. And I was like, I kind of get what you're saying. And I have to go back and read the message because maybe I got miscommunicated on the message. But what I was thinking was, it's wrestling. They're going to make these, ridiculous back and forths because all they want is Aldis versus Gunther at SummerSlam. So that seems pretty much set now. I'm interested to see what happens here. I think they fumbled Gunther since the retiring AJ Styles at the Rumble. I feel like everything after that has been just dog shit for me as a fan when I'm watching Gunther, because I was really enjoying this whole like, no, he beat Goldberg. That's fucking cool. No, he beat Cena. That was fucking cool. And then he beats AJ Styles, and that seems still cool. And then it was just like I know he can't keep doing that. Like there's not enough people to keep doing it at, but it just felt like then what? Like it's like they decided they were going to write the movie as they were making it. That's what it felt like when I was watching this entire thing. So I'm excited. I've always been a big fan of Nick Aldis. I thought that dude had WWE written on him years ago. And the fact that he stayed with the NWA for as long as he did after the TNA run was kind of magical to me. And of course that fell out, but I think Nick Aldis is chiseled out of fucking granite. So like, let's fucking go. I think he's going to surprise the fucking world, especially with the universe. They don't know anything about Nick Aldis, the wrestler. They have not done anything to educate the audience. So I don't know if they're doing that to keep a surprise for the people that are like the kids and the people that are just casuals. So that'll be fun. I think they're going to give him a real fight. Obviously, I don't expect all this to win this thing, but that's really interesting. And then also the second tidbit here is Sammy is not interjected anywhere for SummerSlam. It feels like we're gonna have Cody and Punk. They had a little belt flip to hit Cody in the face after the match, so that was kind of like the "was that done on purpose" thing. Feels really very much like a Bruce Pritchard little mega powers thing going on there. Like, I see the lust in your eyes, that kind of thing. But like, it was just weird. When I was watching, I'm like, that screams Bruce Pritchard all over it. And then they had like a backstage sort of like, hey, we got a fucking problem, pull apart. So I was like, it kind of turned me off a little bit. And I wish JC was here only because the Cody factor, he just sells everything Cody. But it just felt so fucking weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just disenchanted with the whole thing, but I don't know what your thoughts were.
Well, I'm going to start with the fact of John made another comment, which I will 100% agree with, that Sammy is 100% justified. There, I feel for that man. His 9-day title reign. We play the songs on the small violins, but they scream the loudest. The last real good guy. But I agree with you in the sense of Gunther. Like they had nothing, and it's a problem I have with wrestling is when you finally crown somebody, right? And it's like, okay, now what's the next thing we're going to do? And then you have an obvious person who's like the best person, but you have them first. And then it kind of like, well, now do we beat our guy or do we sacrifice the other one that we've put all the big everything into, which is the retiring of all these greats? And so it's like, I felt like they could have put the belt on Gunther and like either postponed the next stuff or like worked up. So like even like where there was going to be another title change. Okay, do something like that there and then fuck them out of it and then lead to whatever with all this. Because I agree where it's like, yeah, they're going to have a really good match because nobody knows what all this is about to come out with. And I feel like there's a novelty to it where they don't need to. Because there's enough people who watch the shows who know Nick Aldis. I mean, I've been watching since Magnus, so like there are people who are going to understand. But then for the people who have only ever known him as the general manager, most anybody who's ever been a general manager gets in the ring and sucks. It's just the inevitability. You get the Eric Bischoff and his freaking Taekwondo gimmicks. Like, it's terrible. You get Shane McMahon with his little prissy punches, okay? I mean, yes, he'll jump off some stuff, but, like, the in-ring wrestling isn't great. Nick Aldis is going to come in with, like, what? He hasn't wrestled in, 3 years? But the guy is, like you said, he's chiseled. He can go in there and have a Brit-style fight. I hope he's ready to get smacked, though, because we know what Gunther is capable of. So, like, his body better be ready to not crumble on him. But, like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of these things where they've been presenting it like, yeah, this has to happen. They could have even pulled the reins back on it a little bit and still gotten to the same end destination, which is the same way I feel about Punk and Cody, where like I feel they're just forcing the tension with a butter knife. Like they're just like, come on, please hate each other. Find any way to be angry. Like the belt flip thing. It was like, I don't know. Is that really what's gonna like create the ultimate heated tension going into SummerSlam? Like there's so, and it draws back to what I was saying before about Lyra Valkyria when it comes to the motivations. There's so much for these two to draw on where either one of them could take the aggressive role and the other one could kind of be the like, I'm right, i.e. Sami Zayn. But just out of these two, you can get it with either way. They're going to want to kind of lean it more towards Punk, but there's the way there's enough character stuff. There's enough that they've both been through that they haven't even like really smacked on, where now this is your SummerSlam belt.
Right. And that's what I was saying.
It looks like I'm burying them. Yeah, I don't know if that's a double entendre.
Yeah, our boy, the Dommy Feds, the one and only, says, was it 2 mega powers? So I did that for basically the audience of one that is Dommy, because I know he knows what the mega powers thing I was talking about, but the using the lust and right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because it was all about Mrs. Elizabeth and all
that was the thing is back then that was a great build, right? The whole thing, it took a year to get to the whole, like it was like 6 months to a year. It was just like, oh, you put her hand on her butt, the whole fucking thing. Like it was great. It was a great lead up. But here's the thing: they're not fighting over somebody. They're fighting over a title. And the belt flip to me felt like just such a weird thing. And then they were like, okay, then they got heated. The one thing I will say is too, and I don't think you watched this because I watched it because Dommy told me about it. But Dom said, oh, the Cody Rhodes interviewed Tom Brady, and as I was listening to it, I was working out, so I was half paying attention, and I kept listening to this one part over and over again. And he goes, so he was equating the fact that when Brady had lost like very badly, like he had one of these like really bad years after the perfect year and like couldn't get his shit together. And then Cody was like, yeah, that's where I feel like I am right now. So I was like, oh, so you're trying to fucking plant the seed now that you're not going to have the title for a while now. And now you're going to go on a losing streak. Like you're going to be like frustrated for a little bit. Like how did you handle that? And so like when I saw that, and then I saw what happened on Saturday, I was like, that fucking asshole. Like I just thought it was so stupid and so asinine that I was just like, okay, if the belt flip is, I'm sure there's going to be more to it, and I'm sure there's going to be a fucking measuring contest up until SummerSlam, but Cody ain't winning that fucking thing. So it's like, is it just going to be interference by Sami Zayn? Like, is that what we're fucking doing? Because if that's the case, no offense, like, I don't think that's good for anybody, and I don't think it's going to be good for a main event. So I feel like at that point, you might as well have, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns night 2. Night 1 will be Oba and fucking Brock in the cage, and let's just call it a fucking day. But that's just me. That's just how I feel about it. But whatever.
Yeah, and like I like what you were saying in the terms of like, oh, Cody's gonna go on this losing streak. Look at what they're doing. But I heard that when Cena lost to The Rock in 2012, where he was going to have the worst year of his entire life. And then he won every feud he was in until Big Show screwed him out of a title. Like, so like, who's to say that Punk doesn't beat him and then Cody just starts winning every feud still because he's Cody Rhodes? Like, again, it all comes down to, and this is what I hate, because like, again, I was really hoping that they could like, even though the Sami reign was never destined to be long, there was just so much you could have sprinkled, even if it was just like 3 months of him doing Jericho Mania 18 type stuff, where he's just sneaking out of every match until he gets his comeuppance. And then you can do, a big Survivor Series or whatever. But like, at least, but I like a CM Punk. And I mean, I don't want to hate it. But then it becomes, well, why are you now doing this in a way that like makes it seem less cool than it is? Because you talk about the mega powers. You could technically say that this has been simmering for 2 years now, since that Royal Rumble interaction, their night after manias, all that stuff. Like there's been that little bit of, hey, I'm the best guy. No, I'm actually the top guy. Like you said, there's going to be a dick measuring contest, but now they've only got a week to really plop their shit out, where they could have, given it slow and tender and spread it out.
All right. This is where I'm going to put the fucking brakes on that for sure. Our boy John was saying modern WWE does not have the balls to make Cody go on a losing streak. He's an untouchable golden boy. John, you probably have it right, but I'm willing to see if I'm wrong. They could go on a losing streak here. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be great because maybe they're equating him losing the championship to losing the championship with Brady. I don't know, but I feel like it was a little weird for them to drop that one line on there. And of course, Dommy says, where are you guys at on Sami making Sami champion, then not having a major spot for him on the SummerSlam card? I think it goes to his character. I think the thing is like he was probably never designed to win this thing for a long period of time, although we all want him to because we like the character. We like the last real good guy. I still think in my head this is not over. I think he's gonna be a fucking pain in the ass. He's gonna destroy this main event. It's gonna be some schmaz gaga bullshit at the end because Sammy's not gonna be done with this. Not having him, like, who would he fight on the card anyway? Because everybody that he's in the orbit of is already paired off. So I don't buy him just having a random match at SummerSlam. I think having him off one of the biggest cards of the year just adds to the character. And I still believe that, like, they keep pushing back the Money in the Bank thing. I mean, if they're not going to give it to LA Knight, Sami Zayn is a great Money in the Bank opportunity. So I feel like that would be a fucking slam dunk for me.
I can sympathize with that, because I've been confused with the Money in the Bank thing. I'm like, how the heck is it even? I don't understand why it was so late to begin with, and then they just kept pushing it, you know. But like, as much as I want the world for a Sami Zayn, it could have been a triple threat match, and you could have even saved the singles match between Punk and Cody. Hell, you could have had it in a way. I mean, I know they wanted to do the Aldis thing, but again, if you push that back and do a 4-way, that could have been fun. I could have enjoyed if the heels went over at Saturday's main event. But we're at a designed purpose. Like, the Cody Punk match was meant to be here, I guess. And again, like, I'm all about a motivation. So now Sammy's gonna come on and miss this show, and he's gonna be even more set off that he's just caught. Like, I hate to narc back on the guy, but it feels like Drew McIntyre. But because it's such a beloved character like Sammy, it comes off a different way. And now it's like, because people were getting tired of Sammy at one point, and now once again, it's like, it's that clamoring, it's that Karrion Kross feeling a year later, where it's like, can you just let it happen? Can you just say yes, 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 please? But they love making you wait. They love teasing.
Everybody loves a good tease. We're going to leave it there. Moving on, the very last thing. I don't have much to say about this. I thought it was fucking dog shit. I'm sure Dommy's going to be in the comments going, you don't know fucking shit. But I thought it was a fucking waste of time having Roman Reigns and Bronson out there doing their thing, and then fucking Halliburton coming out distracting for Rollins. And I was just like, okay, I get it. Again, we're hanging on to the Knicks thing. We're hanging on to the fucking thing. But, like, I don't know. I thought they went to the well too many times on that particular aspect of it again, but I don't care for it because, again, here's the thing that I've noticed about Roman Reigns. He has zero aura, in my opinion, anymore. He has zero clout. He looks very much more like a big dog than he does a tribal chief to me lately, and I just don't give a shit. So, like, anything he does, I think, is less than now. When I see him, he's not appointment television. If he was appointment television, I understand what they're trying to do with the story of him trying to beat Rollins on his own because he's, never done it, supposedly. If you go back, he's beaten him twice, but whatever, that's fine. They're going to revisionist history it. But I think about it this way. Like, I don't give a shit. Honestly, Dom, if you're talking about what I'm talking about, yes, it was too long to get there. It was a fucking long fucking setup. It was just so much. It was so nonsensical, in my opinion, because it just felt like, if you left it with the tag match and the fucking uncertainty, you left it fucking hot. Like, as much as we joke about the belt flip, at least that was like a fucking cliffhangery kind of like, did they mean that on purpose? But you end it with the fucking Knicks thing, and it's like, I get it, but you could have started the show off like that, and it probably would have been the same fucking result. But I just felt like in a format issue, it didn't. If I was a fan, I get if I'm in New York and I like the Knicks and it's a big deal, that's great. And maybe they need Roman to always close the show. That's whatever. But, like, I personally believe that we already know that Rollins is not winning this matchup. So it just feels like they're doing so much. They're adding so many things to this to make it feel big. Like, here's all these fucking packages of Roman Reigns and and like the Shield breakup and the cash-ins and all this. Like, I get there's a lot of history, but, like, does it really even matter? Like, I don't really care. I think Seth Rollins is boring. I think Roman Reigns has lost his fucking curveball. There's so many other things going on that I'm more boned up for. And I just feel like, what are we wasting? Like, this is one of those things. It's like, yeah, that's nice. We have nice things, but why do we need it? Right. So I'm done. I'm done with Rollins. I'm done with Reigns. I like the other parts of the bloodline. I think that's pretty interesting. But Roman Reigns to me has literally not done anything different. So we're done. I'm done with the conversation. It is what it is.
This match very much is kind of like the formality. Like Seth really did put it best in one of his promos, like starting the build, where it's like this could be one of the last chances that like we're gonna do this freaking dance. So like we need to just solidify and do it because it has taken forever to get here. And like even again, like LA Knight pointing it out, where it's like, didn't you lose this tournament? Like it was very janky to get here. And I have a feeling with Roman, it's similar to you do, but like I just look at him and he's just like it's all about the man who makes the championship, right? But right now, Roman is just a guy with belt. Punk could have beat him at WrestleMania. Roman could have done every feud that he has done since he's won the World Heavyweight Championship without it, and you could feel no different about it. They could have gotten the exact same beats out of it. The Jacob Fatu stuff wouldn't have suffered. It would have made more sense considering, we're just arbitrarily giving the guy the title shots for him to rejoin the family. You could make it more about the emotional attachment of it rather than belt, and then Punk could carry it now into this stuff, and Cody could do a lot of things could be reworked around in the grand scheme of look at all these little trickles. But it really did just, and then on top of it just being guy with belt, and then you hand your belt off to a guy with another belt so you could hold up his trophy. You want to talk about dick measuring, man, you're doing it in freaking props now. Like, oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. And it's like, again, with a week left until SummerSlam, like, it's the same way I feel about, like, oh, like, this feels kind of like this is what we're doing when it's crunch time. This is the kind of stuff, like, where I talk about, yeah, it was the strength of the ESPN thing with Danhausen and Transcending. This is them just now trying to milk it as much as it's worth for the market they were playing. And so, like, yeah, Rollins now needs his rematch. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's do it. And let's have it be done now, because at the end of the day, there is nothing left you can get out of the Nixon MSG or Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins that they haven't really treaded with anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it felt like a crutch. And John says it here, to WWE, the ad money / pop culture reference is more important than the in-ring wrestling. And while, yes, it's been baked into the DNA of WWE since Mania 1, the ZK era has swung the pendulum far too one way. So look, I think they're growing as a business. We just, as fans, we're probably not enjoying the fruits of their labor, which is fine. But yeah, there's a lot we can talk about. But I'm gonna put a pin on Saturday night. We're gonna move on to the rest of the show and try to get as many things as we can in here. We've kind of covered up a lot of the things that we were probably gonna talk about anyway. So I'm gonna say shine, but we're gonna probably do quick things because at this point, I don't know how much more shine we have, but
yeah, right. I mean, everything's kind of been like a shine with a little heat in there,
right.
Because like everything is perspective in wrestling. It's the duality of fates, as I've been really liking to say recently. Like, there's always just that for everything you can, they're gonna not.
Right. I don't really have a lot to say about Friday because honestly, we talked about this before. When it's a Friday and there's an important thing on Saturday or Sunday, it kind of feels less than anyway to talk about. So not a lot.
Right. That's why even when I was like, yeah, I'm here for this, I'm either like predicting shows or whatever. But like, no, I get all the fallout. Like, this is like an easy day at the office.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of things that I thought were pretty cool. The Vision had a really decent match with Javon and Dragon Lee. The only reason I really liked this match is it felt really focused on Javon's aggression, and it was really interesting to me. I don't know. We can talk about the Vision later on in terms of other things, but I just thought Javon Evans specifically, fantastic human being. Love those beats. Love it very much. Another thing that I thought was fantastic, and we can explore this option if you want to, was Danhausen getting beaten up by the Judgment Day only to be saved by say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I mean, when I saw that, I finally went, yes. Mystical powers meeting cursed. I felt like the WWE fell flat on Joe Hendry and what brought him to the dance. Like the campiness of the spin and the goofy grin. Like that was his bread and butter. Like he literally changed the entire world upside down of wrestling by his own accord, by figuring out the song and the fucking how to sway your hands from side to side and have this goofy thing. And he felt like WWE took too long to get him, and then they didn't know what to do with him. And then I finally see him come out, and I'm like, this could be fucking gold. This could be comedic gold if done correctly. We have so many things on this show that suck. And I was like, okay, you're going to tell me you got a guy who can appear when you say his name and another guy who can get cursed. Like, yeah, you could paint yourself in a wall creatively because, like, how do you beat these guys technically from the supernatural aspect? But they're also like kind of dumb and like make mistakes. So I feel like you could have a lot of fun with this. And like, I know JC would probably hate me for saying this, but like, can we take a flyer on them being tag champions someday? I could buy that. I don't know. Even if
I
it's
mean,
shorter.
do they? I mean, listen, it wouldn't be the dumbest thing WWE has ever done with a tag team championship. Like, like you said, there's so much potential for something like that to just be crazy amount. Like, you want the entertainment in WWE, there it is, because those are two guys that aren't like shackled to an extent. I agree with you where they kind of like lost the steam on Henry. I feel like he was just made to be NXT guy. Cause like as soon as you call somebody like him up, he's gonna get kind of like muckled down with everybody else. And I feel that way about like Ethan Page. Like I'm pretty sure he had a tag match at some point in this freaking episode with your boy Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
But it
yeah,
didn't matter. It didn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, so yeah, I mean, if they were to win the tag team championships, I mean, hey, with teams like Ethan Page and Rusev on the scene, why the fuck not? Just for the entertainment value alone of what they could do with just messing around with people. They've already done it with a pairing like Kit Wilson and The Miz.
Right.
Like there's just a lot to play, and they feel like those kinds of things that you could just get away with doing together, where they're already kind of like interplacing them throughout stuff wherever. Again, Joe Hendry a little less now because Danhausen's caught all the fire in the world. But hey, Joe Hendry could at least make a program with Logan Paul entertaining to me. Like, that man's capable of anything.
Very true.
Wish I could say this about the rest of the division.
I know. I was going to say, we might as well get into the heat, right? There it is. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. I'm going to go back to the Vision since she said the name again. I don't really like the Vision and Otis and Tozawa. I don't like that Braun Breaker is bumping for anybody like Otis or Tozawa. It fucking seems stupid. They're spending way too much time on Austin Theory there. I just don't believe him. I don't believe the Maxine thing. Logan Paul is, perfect where he is, but Braun Breaker was a superstar. So I just feel like when I'm watching this, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I get that Obafemi's there. I get that Javon Evans is there. Trick Williams is there. They all new hotness, as they say, like all these people are catching fire. And it's like, sorry, Braun, you're taking it back. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's not 100%, but he's a freak of nature. I just feel like when I'm watching it, I'm just waiting for him to do something of relevance. I'm waiting for him to do something to break out because I just don't care. So the Vision sucks in general. And then like now I'm like, you're going to tell me that they're a threat. It just looks like every time they're out there now, it feels like I'm watching a really bad like PG-13 teeny bopper fucking dating movie. And they're the fucking jocks that are like, oh yeah, man, we're hot. We got the fucking hot girl. And we're just going to win every time. And it's just so fucking stupid to me. And like, this whole thing's been snake bit from the beginning in general. So I'm done. Like I've been done with the Vision for a very long time. I am visionless. I do not care. Maxine's like feels like a too little too late scenario for me. So I'm done. But John's saying right here, making Maxine a heel when she's generally couldn't have been the whitest of white meat babyface, if booked correctly, is one of the dumbest decisions of the year to me. I mean, here's the thing. I understand your point of view, John, but I also feel like she's not a very good baby face anyway, like you said. And if you're not that great at your job, then making her a heel, I don't buy her as a heel or a baby face. I don't buy her at all in general. I think Theory needed something because he is just not there. And so that's tough. So I don't know. The Vision feels like we're done. We're done with it. And it's just like, so here's Jami says, I don't have Netflix, but everything on social media with Theory and Maxime seems to be working. Okay, well, again, I could be completely out of touch with this, but I just feel like, I don't know, I'm not interested in it. I don't know. I just feel like not everybody's on social media like clamoring for the extra stuff. I mean, if you're just tuning in to watch the fucking program, then this is what you get.
Yeah. Paul Heyman made like the smartest business decision ever, whether in shoot or not, just dislatching himself from it altogether. Because like what I was saying earlier, remember when I was talking about all the little trickle effects that could have possibly, imagine a world where Oba just was like, nah, I want to fight Brock 1, I want to fight Roman 2. And then now you do that at SummerSlam instead of slow cooking Oba, and Braun Breaker then has a place again. Because Braun Breaker deserves a place in the big conversation. But he's being saddled to a tag reign because freaking YouTube Logan Paul hurt his elbow. And now they're saddling Maxine because, like you said, they need something for Austin Theory to feel important. So give the jock a hot girl, which and now for Braun Breaker to go from the highs of potentially being a world heavyweight champion to being dummy thrown out by an Akira Tozawa and making a minor beatdown segment, it's like, what is even the point anymore? I mean, when you had something that worked potentially and you just decided we're going to keep trying this, stop trying to make the vision happen. If you want to do your Austin Theory and your Maxine Dupree, do it. Because apparently somebody says it's working. If they want to start freaking mingling tongue, all over their TV screens, then all the power freaking to them. They're no Edge and Lita. Well, all the power to them. But for me to now all of a sudden care about Otis and Tozawa, which no discredit to Otis, because everything Otis does whenever he's on TV, he makes it work. But this just isn't it. And it ties back to, again, tag titles just don't mean anything if this is the most prominent thing that they can come up with going into SummerSlam for it. Because it's not going to be on SummerSlam. There's no way that Alpha Academy versus Division is a SummerSlam match. If it is, I don't know what I'll be held to, but it'll be the most ridiculous I've ever seen.
Well, to be fair, it's a non-title match, but they are having it next week, so.
Oh, see, they are already handling my problems for me.
There you go. You're all set. You're all set. Speaking of another problem that they're stuffing down our throat, we're going to talk about Chad Gable. Now, I know that I'm going to get some heat from our boy Ray Ray.
Wait. Can I turn the lights off with his theme music? What? Did he not install a clapper?
No, but that would be.
They should make that part of his gimmick now.
I know. So you probably don't know this. This is a shout out to people who are really fucking in the weeds with shit. I love a lot of wrestling themes as a kid growing up. You may be aware, you may not be. There was a tag team in the early 90s with Marcus Bagwell and Scotty Riggs called the American Males. If you don't know it, it's a great fucking theme song. It's terrible. American Males. Yeah, so anyway, they would do the same fucking clap, right? So that's where my brain goes when I hear, we're on a free ride, and Gable. That's what they do. And I'm like, okay, hold on. All right. So here's my biggest problem with this entire thing. First off, it looks fucking terrible. It's like, he's sitting there doing fucking calisthenics after he fucking wins a match. And I'm thinking to myself, I know it's Dad Rock and everybody's like, oh, Dad Rock's really fucking over and whatever. It's great. But here's the thing. If I even hate to draw the comparison, but this is what fucking went through my head. First off, not only is it the American males, but then I thought to myself, you know what they did? They thought, okay, we can't get Chad Gable anymore over, so we need to fucking put a random fucking Gable randomly in their fucking song to get everybody fucking clapping because they can't do You Suck, whatever. So then you're sitting there and you're fucking telling me, okay, juxtaposition wise, just let me go on a fucking tangent for a second, right? Here we go, baby. You're gonna fucking tell me Gable is not the fucking whitest guy you know, cringy Dad Rock version. And on the other side of the fucking program, by the way, at the end of the fucking program on Monday, is fucking yeeting every fucking rock in the fucking joint. And it's like, that's cool because Jay Uso is cool. He comes off like he's fucking cool. You want to fucking do this. But what fucking person sitting down in an 18-inch seat in an arena is going to want to be like, oh my God, Gable's coming out. Gable. Gable. I love it. This is great. This is great. It's not a yes. It has nothing to do with nothing. It just like I'm trying to think of these fucking people who are gonna fucking do this. Meanwhile, I have my boy Ray telling me he's like, "You're fucking out of touch." Everybody loves it. I'm like, it's Pavlov's dog. If you tell them to fucking clap to Gable, Gable, they're gonna fucking do it. But like, do you think he's gonna fucking do that at SummerSlam when he wins the Intercontinental title? Get the fuck out of here. He's gonna look like a fucking buffoon. You're gonna make him look like the fucking whitest kid you know. He's gonna look uncool, unhip. It's just it fucking they can't fucking do it right. And it drives me insane. It's like it feels uncomfortable. It feels like it's forced. It makes no fucking sense. Anytime you guys watch this stupid Gable thing, you're gonna think of me losing my fucking mind because it just looks like a fucking monkey with cymbals doing this bullshit. And it's like, how are we fucking taking him seriously now? How? We're not. You want to know why? Because they're going to fuck him up for the last fucking time. This is it. This is fucking dead on arrival. You tell me right now, leaping the dolphin, as we say in this program, they leapt the dolphin. This is it. Chad Gable, you're fucking dead. Might as well have a fucking tombstone on your fucking head. This Gable shit, it might work for a couple months, but it is not going to be a fucking yes, yes, yes. It's not going to be a fucking yeet, yeet, yeet. It's going to look stupid. Fucking stupid. Sorry, end of rant.
No, I can appreciate the passion, especially because Chad Gable is the easiest wrestler to book in the world. And this is literally the definition of they did not need to fix what was never broken. They legitimately, as soon as he was unmasked as Americana, they brought back the American Alpha music. This man's never had a bad theme song. Even when he was teaming up with Shelton Benjamin, I bet nobody remembers that song, but I do. That song was at least banger. It banged for that 2018 time, okay? When in a time of where CFOs was running the world, you know, they didn't need to have it be Gable, Gable, and it doesn't need to come at the expense of somebody who also got their theme nerfed. Our boy Ethan Page and Rusev. Like, why are they the butts of the joke? Why are they the Ego, who had a tremendous theme song in his own right, which he's voiced his opinions on and yada yada. But like Ethan Page, who a month ago felt like he could have been the guy to be the Intercontinental Champion, feels like a 3-minute afterthought. And here's Chad Gable, who was always destined for it. And they're trying to Jey Uso him in a way that doesn't work. Because like you said, like, as much as even I was never this, I get it for the kids. I don't think it's justifiable to like constantly shoehorn him into stuff. But sure, have your little dance. It's cool. This is not Intercontinental Champion. This is not super serious Olympic athlete in a world where, again, this Penta versus Chad Gable on paper is the easiest thing you've ever booked. It's the Lucha Libre style versus the grappling style. It's the clash of ideologies in a world where Chad Gable spent how long as a luchador, a luchador, you know, like this is again where I'm talking about the motivations and they're just trying to make everything a pop. They're trying to make everything feel like a play along. Like, it's fine to let the audience in, but you don't need that. Like, they will naturally get excited. They will naturally clap along with a song that's just good. They don't need you to say his name because, I mean, he's already there. This isn't Joe Hendry. You know, he will come out and he will go, yeah, I am Olympian. Even the music that he had with the Creed brothers. You could have just brought that back. It's not like they're on TV to freaking use it. Like, you're just making something that's unnecessarily bad onto somebody that is freakishly good, and it's going to come at his expense on top of everybody else that wrestles him now because they now have to eat that.
I could go on for this forever. I'm sure next week I'm going to get a mouthful from everybody, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't give a shit. It's my program. I'll do what I want. I think it's time to just, unless you have anything else that's heaty, we're going to move on to the Hope. You good with that?
Yeah.
All right. You want me to go first?
Go for it.
my hope is very simple. I saw this on Friday and I thought to myself, here's a tag team that I really enjoy watching, and they're literally doing fucking nothing. Is we had a fun match between Fraxium and the Viking Raiders, which I just thought was great. And I know the Viking Raiders are literally such a great tag team, but I thought to myself, you know who fucking screams fucking lucha libre? Fucking Spanish guy with the fucking mask. Like, why the fuck are you not putting Fraxium down in AAA? They would fucking rake. They would, if they were AAA tag team champions, that would set the fucking world on fire down there. They'd have so many fucking great matches. Nathan Frazier would become a fucking superstar down there because of the way that they had Gable and fucking Ludwig do that shit. Like, to me, that it's like a no fucking brainer to me that I'd be like, yep, those guys aren't doing anything. We don't take tag team wrestling seriously on fucking SmackDown or Raw anyway. Fucking War Raiders are great. They're fucking good, bad guys too. They're good guys. They're a great fucking substitute tag team no matter where you go. But Fraxium's been fucking doing nothing but fucking cartwheels in the fucking dark on SmackDown. So fucking ship him off to Mexico. Let him have a fucking run. Let the Undertaker's fucking Booker of the Year in my opinion anyway. So whatever. But like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I'm done with it. Ship him off to fucking Spain. I'm sorry, to Mexico. Let the Spaniard and fucking Nathan Frazier have some fucking fun. That's all I want.
You know, that does sound great, you know, because a team like that, it fits the natural glove. It fits like a glove. I really just had a really good hope. And I don't remember what it is anymore for some reason, because you were just so captivating with that, that great tangent. I mean, I hope the best for whatever is going to happen in the women's division going forward, because man, is it just a messy. I really just, I had it right here. It was right here.
It's okay.
You know, and man, Nestle, you know, I just hope that that this company can give you guys good things to talk about. Because man, like with all the mucky mucks, you know, you guys need. There's no reason that my Nessie should have to come on here and spout such obscenities. You know, he shouldn't have to watch a program and feel so insulted as a man of profession and class and dignity. You know, and JC would probably hate every word that's coming out of my mouth right now.
He does not like. He does not like the fluff job that you're giving me right now. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, I'm gonna let you move on to the comeback. I'm gonna give my comeback. Well, did I have a comeback? I forget what I did. Anyway, do you have a comeback while I'm looking?
We're gonna dip into the other realm, because and this is just my own personal thing, because I tend to go to Dynamites in Boston or whatever when they're convenient, because, you know, they're not trying to rake you for $80 million to sit in a nosebleed. So it's just a nice night of wrestling. And I hope I see somebody that, you know, comes from our local independent scene who absolutely deserve those opportunities. Anytime I'm there, and you know what, this kind of narps on, because you know you mentioned that tag match earlier with your favorite of all time, the future of lucha libre, Dragon Lee. You know, because hey, you know what makes the vision good? The common denominator. Javon Evans can only be as great as the man standing next to him, and that's Dragon Lee. The same way that Dragon Lee stood back. I just remembered my hope, so I'm going back to that now.
Make it quick.
So we were talking about you know, where people kind of belong, right? And you know, the forbiddens, right? Well, I don't know about you, but AJ Styles still be spouting about, you know, the company at large. And now I'm seeing somebody who's constantly making a wave on said independent scene. You know, a one descendant, a one spewed from his loins, Styles, Avery Styles. Imagine a world where he comes into the Performance Center and he's the next second generation in NXT. Maybe we save that Lexus King idea that's pillaging down there, that Birthright. Who remembers Birthright? Man, wasn't that a cool concept? It was going to be legacy all over again. Now imagine it with the son of AJ Styles. Wow. Now you're cooking with gasoline. In a world where Zilla Fatu is still out there somewhere. You never forget. Yeah. But back to my initial point. I have to get it out there because I was like, somehow Dragon Lee got me back to the name Styles, and I went, oh my god, epiphany. But yeah, So anytime I go to a AEW in New England, no matter who is on the card, for some reason, Commander shows up. He will be in a mist. He will be out in the ether of whatever Tony Khan doesn't want to do with anybody forever. But then he just shows up to the Northeast and puts on a banger for no reason. And I hate Kyle Fletcher. I don't buy him for a second.
Interesting.
But holy goodness, here comes Commander, and they have like the best TV match on a show that didn't have anything announced, and they threw Edge at me impromptu, like my favorite wrestler of all time. So like, I'm gonna give props to a guy like a Commander who can just at any moment make me give a about a product that I do not watch consistently. And the same way that, you know, Dragon Lee and Javon Evans can pull a good match out of an Austin Theory. Okay, good job, Kyle Fletcher. You actually had a match that I could somewhat maybe care about because this guy made you actually work for it.
I love you very much, but I think you've been hit on the head too many times because the fact that you like Commander more than Kyle Fletcher makes me question a lot about you.
Yeah, there's a lot of questionable things about me, Nestle. You know this all too well.
I know, but I look
that's
past all of that stuff.
Way. The ZOAT way is honestly like, I'm going to see the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Yeah, I can get a fad here and there, but like, I'm all about the left field. I'm all about the random shenanigan, you know? And Commander, I mean, he is as shenanigan as it gets.
I was thinking he was more left field as it gets, but that's okay. That's okay. Listen, next week there's going to be a person in that seat saying, I can't believe someone gave Commander their fucking comeback. So that's okay. He's going to fucking hate that shit. That's okay. That's his problem.
Why? I basically live to piss him off anyway because I like you.
Well, he's not going to like that either. That's okay. Anyway, I thought I totally remembered my comeback. I was going to give it to Royce Keys because on Monday night they fucking made him look like a real powerhouse finally, and fucking did something which I thought was fantastic. And I just thought to myself, okay, great. Like he finally looks like he belongs in something. He finally looks like he doesn't seem like the odd man out. Like the solo thing is great, of course. LA Knight, I'm feeling like the stuff feels like they're trying to replace it with what, you know, like like, okay, that's a little too much for me. Again, another guy greedy with fucking catchphrases. That happens. But Royce Keys to me is fucking, I've been waiting for him to fucking get off the fucking pot and do something. So this was the moment where I was like, okay, he feels like he's being featured. It feels like he's a powerhouse. Obviously the bloodline, you know, clean sweeps at the end, but for the most part, I really enjoyed what they did for Keys here. What is the thumbs up? What's the thumbs down for there, Dummy? Keys or is it fucking Commander? I gotta know. I don't know what he was. Dom is probably gonna type in here at some point what he's fucking saying. But anyway, there's my comeback.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, when I saw that match get announced for SummerSlam, that 6-man tag, I said, why is this not on Saturday's main event? Mm-hmm. Oh, because it has 5 matches on it already. But like, I feel like they did things a little out of, because I'm like, I don't see Solo in this role that he's putting himself in. And then he's also trying to be friends with Seth Rollins. So it's like, why are you even in this match then? Like, I actually kind of think that could be your bread and butter for the SummerSlam build, is being the weird allegiance with Seth Rollins and battling your family. This is a weird way to do the same thing at the same time. But hey, whatever gets Royce Keys on in pay-per-view, whatever gets that guy in the ring with Jacob Fought too, and let them just smack each other. Listen, I've been in Tennessee for the past weekend. I have been, and they do it crazy down there. All they do is smack the smack out of each other and then hope one of them stays down. That's all I need sometimes. I just need the 2 most intimidating guys in the world to beat each other harder than the other one. And then you have the Usos, one of the best tag teams in the world. They're freaking Broski and LA Knight, which, I mean, you could excavate him out of this match and I would care just as much. So, yeah, Royce Keys, baby.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to get to the big old finish here. I'm going to give you a rapid fire. I want to see your level of excitement for some of this shit. We're going to have a Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns face off.
All right. I mean, get your last licks in. Time to, you know, Lay them all on the table. You want the big swing? Swing it like it's a chair on the Shield turn.
There you go. I don't care. Don't give a shit. The Vision versus Otis and Tozawa. It's a real fucking thing they got to take care of. So whatever. This is more. This
How
is
about
like
how about Braun just wins by himself in like 2 minutes?
fine.
Austin never has to make a tag. Akira Tozawa dies. The fact that it'll all be fine, and I'll care not a bit of it.
A random match that I'm interested in is Sol Ruka taking on Raquel Rodriguez, which is whatever. It seems fine, but again,
Okay, and I know that I remember they also did a thing with Lyra and Soul, I guess, in a commercial break or something. So, I mean, I'll buy that again. I know they had a pretty decent TV banger when Lyra was still doing the babyface shtick. So now, again, give her that motivation of being the first Intercontinental Champion, but do it in a way like Sammy, where she is in the right. Like she's had the world crumble around her, and now here's this prissy Sol Ruka who had the worst booking for a month and notched her way into a title. Like there's some good stuff there. And I mean, Raquel Rodriguez will be a great foil until Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. The one thing that I'm going to be looking forward to next Monday would be the Danhausen Joe Hendry concert, which I think will be really interesting.
Wait, there's a concert?
Yeah.
Do they even need a rest of the show? Just do that for 3 hours.
I mean, there's got to be a
I know. I was upset that there were no women's matches on Monday Night Raw this week, but if you scrap every single match on the show and do a concert, I will come. I will zoom into this podcast, even if JC's here, and just go, "Thank you," and then leave.
Very excited. And then finally, a weigh-in UFC style for Brock and Oba, which we didn't really talk about this much this week, but
well, I mean, you couldn't. Half the equation wasn't there.
No, I know, but I think as long as we see Brock Lesnar pick up a scale and throw it at Oba Femi, we'll be fine. Pretty much all we need. So
yeah, I mean, this is one of those times where Hell in a Cell it feels cool, and that's at a time where like I could care less about Brock Lesnar. The moment he came back and did the Cena stuff, I'm like, okay, can we just get rid of him? The clock's ticking on you. Please just go. And Oba now being the guy. This is another one of those weird things where like they didn't follow up on Gunther, but hey, at least we're giving it to Oba. And if you keep the train rolling, then we'll be strutting our way to championship sooner or later.
There you go. Nice macho. All right. We're gonna.
I thought it would work with the Mega Powers.
There you go. Nice way to tie it all in. Before we leave, we're gonna do rapid fire. You're an AW. Well, not a watcher, but you went, so you're kind of more adjacent than most of us.
All right, where are you? Where are you, John?
Anyway, here we go. Really quickly. Here we go. Ready? We got fucking Clark Connors versus Jay White. I don't like Clark Connors. Our boy Dommy fucking keeps telling us about Clark Connors, saying Clark Connors, Clark Connors, Clark Connors. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. Jay White's cool.
If there was anything else on this card that I would potentially care about, I would maybe watch that match. But let's hear what else is here.
All right, we also got a match that is interesting, I guess, in theory, but it doesn't really matter because, again, we're setting up for a fucking all out, or sorry, all in, is the Tickler. We like to mispronounce this, the Toxic Tickler. And Willow are going face to face. I assume eventually to have a fucking match. We know.
Yeah, because they have a pay-per-view that they were trying to build, I guess.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
What else they've got? They've got the Women's World Championship. Sorry, the Women's Tag Team Championships. Megan Bain and Lana Cross, they're taking on the Sky Blue and Julia Hart there.
They're going to die.
That's a JC match. Don't really care, but whatever, that's fine. Yeah.
That's Saj over there.
We got fucking the TNT Championship with Darby Allin and Kevin Knight. I assume Darby is just there to sacrifice. I fucking hate this. This is a trios match where it's fucking stupid ass shit. Don Callis family taking on Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and John Moxley. Again, don't give a fucking shit.
Blow your load. Oh, wait, we can do the Gable clap. Anytime we don't like something, you can do the Gable clap.
Yeah. Gable. I didn't even set up AEW predictions for fucking Redemption on Sunday or whatever, so we're not even going to go that far. It is what it is. So I'm going to say I'm done. Are you done? Okay. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.